Good morning, afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And I have this little piece of music that I have wired up to play. Hey, Miss Pearl, and I just want to play it. Can you hear that, Pearl? Can y'all hear that? My little bit of music that I recorded off of a, get this, and an anime, and it was called Cosmic Warrior Zero is the name of the anime. And there's this music that they play at the beginning, and I just every time I hear it, I held my cell phone up to the TV while they were playing the beginning of it, and I recorded it. That's you know it's not real loud. I got the speaker sitting right by the microphone, so you could hear it. But every time I hear it, every time I listen to it, maybe it's just me, but with all the stuff that's going on, it's a pretty piece of music, but it lifts my heart. It lifts my spirit. With all the stuff you see going on and all of the people against people and stuff against stuff and I listen to it, and does it have any real connection to the anime itself? I'm not really sure. But for me at least, it just there's absolutely something that gives me hope. That it's hard. It's hard for me to just every time I listen to it, it almost brings a tear to my eye. In that with all the strife and everything we go through, there's still like pretty music we can listen to that will lift our hearts in some way, or maybe not lift our hearts in any way. But anyway, here recently, the spirit realm has just been whacking me over the head. Hey, Nicholas, how are you? Um, and it's concerning folks is like it's almost like they've gotten off of the path that they were on because they're not believing in themselves enough. And I've in talking with some folks, I I think my humble opinion, and this is what the spirit guides wanted me to kind of yak about is that I'm living my life a little too much like a hermit. And you know, I I like being by myself and having quiet time, but These last few years, it's been like way too much quiet time. It's in the 3D world. In that, I'm living by myself. John Lee Hooker. Oh yeah. Oh really? I saw BB King in concert in Tallahassee years ago. Yeah, BB King. But in this, people aren't taking the idea of being a hermit seriously. Now, in my little bit of description that I posted with the video, it doesn't necessarily mean that you gotta, you know, literally go move into the woods like I did and live by yourself and so forth. But it is very important for the cards pulled, for example, to the animal cards, to use bear for hibernation, at least in meditation. You're an urban you're an urban hermit, yeah. Um, and and you probably, not that anybody else won't get it, Pearl, but you get what I mean in that respect. But and Pearl, you hang out with a lot of folks and with um, Facebook and stuff. Um, my observation is this: people need to find more hermit time. They need to make time. They need to be able to take time to be quiet. They need to be able to time to do whatever, but especially just to be quiet and to not overthink anything. Oh, I have all these problems. Okay, then can you just learn, take a deep breath and just learn to be calm and be quiet? And I don't mean this in some ugly way, but you need to learn how to shut your damn mouth. Yak, 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 yak. And with that yakking, folks are making all kinds of suppositions and oh this is the truth when it ain't the truth, and they convince themselves that they have to have some truth that they can believe in, when if they just believed in themselves, it would go a long way. But there are folks that I'm in being the observer. I've observed that there are folks who just claim they know what they talking about, and in that, they can bring quiet, and they can bring that hermit, and they can bring that. And I gotta say, no, you ain't. And I'm really honestly not trying to be rude in any way or to cut you down, but no, you ain't, because you haven't learned to be quiet. You haven't learned to just shut the self off and just listen. And there's too many people that claim they can are doing it, but when you listen and hear and stuff, and even in their body language, you can tell that no, they ain't. They're trying to convince themselves that they're taking that hermit time. They're convincing themselves that, oh, I took time to meditate. I took time to be quiet. No, you didn't. And well, I had to listen to music so I could get in the mood. Okay, but you need to learn how to get in the mood without having to have some type of outside stimuli. You need to be able to just close your eyes and take even a half a deep breath and be able to step into that hermit of you, that quiet of you. And so there's so many people that you know, and I got to say, I honestly think they're trying. Um, some of them, I think they're just yakking. They're trying to. Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, I can be the hermit when I need to be, and oh yeah, I can go into that. Yeah. Then how come you're still having all these issues that would be settled if you would shut your mouth in your head and listen to what the spirits actually do have to say. Not say, well, I think they said this, and I just, and I spent, I meditated on. No, you didn't. Sometimes it takes weeks, months, years to meditate on something, especially something that's really important in your life. And people have meditated for a whole 10 minutes and they've got the meaning of life because they said so. So anyway, there, if you truly become the hermit, where you, and just visualize it if you can't actually do it, take a day, send the kids off with somebody, and you just spend the day around the house, listen to some music, but then don't listen to some music. Why? Because music is great, but it will remind your brain of things that you may not need to be thinking about. Okay. So if in order to be the hermit of yourself, you got to turn everything off. Turn the clock off, turn the TV off, turn noise off. Just, hey Chloe, how are you? But just listen. Well, I got to have music to get in the mood. Are you sure? Because you rely on it. So you can't get in the mood unless you got music playing. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, but the thing is that to really get yourself into your hermit, you can't have any of this. You can play music in yourself. Play the music within you. I got the music in me. I got the music in me. I got the music in me. Feel funky, feeling blue. I'm in the neighborhood. I got the music in me. Anyway, crazy. Now, I used to be, and in a way I still am, but I used to be that, oh God, if I've got so much stuff to do that I just can't sit around and be a hermit for the day. When maybe that's really what you need. Okay. And so, oh well, I really need to get this done. And well, I said I was going to do this on Saturday, and I really need to clean the gutters. And I really, okay. But at some point, people are making up excuses not to become a hermit for the day, not to go really inside without any kind of outside stimuli. Now, I know there are folks that are going to say, Hawkeye, what's wrong with listening to some music? Well, now if it's drum music, nothing at all. If there's something like that, but if there's if it's a pop song that you're listening to, and it's the greatest hits or something like that, and there's lyrics and that kind of thing, the lyrics and the music take you out of the hermit. Okay. It keeps you in the now, so to speak. You're listening to the oldie station. Okay, for a little while, but that what you need to do then is have enough courage and guts and all that good stuff, gumption, and go turn that radio off and just listen. Let whatever's in whatever song might come up in your head that you can let it play. Like I got the music in me. I got, okay, so but you're not listening to the radio. The source is within you now. Okay. Now, what's the difference? A lot. Okay. Because you're listening to the playlist that someone else is going to play for you. So, whatever they play for you will play upon your emotions, good, bad, indifferent. Oh, I hate that song. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my if I hear that song one more time, I'm going to puke, right? Or it's some other song, um, one way or another. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you one way. Okay, so we can swing or we can be listening to Willie Nelson. Okay, but to the point though, the lyrics and the song puts us our mind into a place where. Will you hold that thought? I think it's raining. We all just hang on a minute. I think it's raining, which is a good thing. Hallelujah. I want to. Oh, there's thunder and lightning. Hang on a second. I got to put some buckets out and catch some rainwater. That's. Hang on a sec. Hell yeah, we got rain. Good deal. Good deal. Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. It's raining outside. Amen, amen, amen. And it feels good too. I got some buckets outside and I put them under the eave. And but anyway, singing bowls. Yeah. Now, see, to make your own music, to make your own sound, and anytime I have pulled the whale card, the whale is like, human beings are the only ones that don't have their own sound, their own noise, their own music. And I would agree with that. So, but if you've got a singing bowl, even if you just have a rattle or bells or a drum or whatever, but you make the music versus listening to an outside source that will pick your mood for you. Okay. But whale is has got the knowledge of the universe, right? And especially of Turtle Island. But in that there's the whale song. And we need to find our own human whale song, our song. And for each of us to find our own song, whether it be humming or whatever. Now, humming a tune, even if it's a popular one, you creating the tune, humming it, there is. I was going to use magic in there, but and in sort of a way, there's magic in the music. That is true. Um, the magic is in how it makes us feel or how it changes our mood. Hey, Amber. Absolutely, Amber. Celebrate love and life. Absolutely. Um, but anyway, with this idea though of being the hermit, I sing talking the tune of there you go. Um, there are some people I honestly believe they're trying to avoid going in to the quiet time because they've always got something to do. Always. Now it's good to stay busy, not a problem. But there are some people, well, no, I can't sit still. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Sometimes angels work there too. But you have to learn to be quiet, for whatever it is. Sometimes it's just for inspiration. When I was doing puppets and storytelling and I needed a new story or I needed something else, I had to be quiet and just say, okay, creator, all right, my spiritual friends, I need I have a subject and I need a story that goes along these lines. These are my parameters. Now, here are my characters, and I put them out in my head. And there's the bumblebee, there's boneheads, there's cool dude. There's so what's the message, and how can I use these characters? So, but in this process, you had to learn to be quiet and block out stuff. Now sometimes I could be in a room full of people and I could still go to the hermit and think of these different things. In the cafeteria, people are eating and talking and stuff, and I'll be with a piece of paper and I'll just be, okay, now I'm just going to say this, blah blah blah, and this is how it's going to go, and I write down the outline. And then as I write down the outline, there might be some dialogue that comes out, and I'll write a little bit of that. Okay. So, but the inspiration comes when I find the calm within myself. Okay. In trying to find the answer to something or whatever. So, but in my storytelling and coming up with a story that would fit a particular um, I want to use the word agenda, but the agenda being, healthy to kids and to eat healthy and to be smart. And, so the show and the story was along these lines of how these, this boy and this girl were going to have a tricycle race. Okay. And the girl, she was just so much more healthier than the guy, but everybody voted on the guy, but she won the tricycle race because he was out of shape. Well, I'm a guy, I'm stronger than her, and I can do it. And, she's just a girl, and then it was a funny little story because that was 20 years ago. I don't know if I could tell the same story now because of all the gender conflicts and stuff. Well, here was this person, and never mind. So, but it was funny to the kids and to the parents because it was sort of like the tortoise and the hare. The rabbit's going to win. Tortoise slow, blah blah blah. Now, but here was, here's Leroy, who's the strong back, but she's got the stamina because she rides 3 miles to school and back. He only rides 5 blocks. So she's stronger. So anyway, so what makes this story important? Well, back in the day, boys and girls, they had differences, but little boys who think they're better than little girls to come find out, whoops. So, hey, it's all about who you are and what you are and how you practice and your stamina, which was one of the cards I pulled on Robert's show tonight, was the elk, all about stamina. So, but spiritually speaking, there are folks who have no spiritual stamina. And it's all about that they got to have their mind's got to be doing something. The TV's got to be on, the radio's got to be playing. Something has to be going on around them because they can't stand the noise in their own head. Just stop and think about that a minute. Do you know someone like that? Unfortunately, I know a few people like that. Now, I'm not trying to put these folks down, okay? It's just that I got to do this. Well, maybe you shouldn't do anything. Maybe you should just be quiet. Oh, but such and such and blah, blah, blah. But you can't learn shit if all you're going to do is keep talking in your head. And, well, I got this problem. And so they meditate on the problem with what they think is the solution. Okay. If you want the solution, you don't put the solution in your head and go, okay, this is the solution I think should happen. And then that's what you meditate on. No, you meditate simply on the answer, not what you think is the answer. Okay. Because if you push what you think it, now you might be right about this, but here's the thing. If you're going in to find the true answer, then you don't go in with, well, this is the answer and I just want clarification. You might be wrong. And so you're going to meditate to get clarification when they're like, no, you got this wrong, dude or dudette. No, go back to the meditating part. So to become the hermit, when there's nobody else around to give you a yes or a no, well, should I do this or should I do it like this or, whatever the issue. And so, but sometimes you look at something and go, I can't do this by myself. Me being hermit down here, lots of stuff you can't do by yourself. But you know what? When you're by yourself and there ain't nobody around to help you, you figure out ways to do stuff that should normally take two or maybe even a third person, and you get her done. But you can't do it if your brain's so muddled and jumbled and got this, well, this is the only answer. Yeah, but it's the only answer if you got another person. But there's only you, and you got to lift a board, you got to move with something. Now, how do you do that? You do it by being quiet and say, okay, I've got this dilemma and I need help with it. So, how do I do this? So, you close your eyes and you just let things kind of rumble around in there. You don't choose a thing. Well, and you could say, well, if I were to do it like this and follow through on it, or if I tried to do it like this, or I don't have any other suggestions. Is there any other way I could do this, whatever it is you're doing? And all of a sudden, literally out of the darkness, out of the blue, out of something occurs, and you go, wait a minute, I might be able to get that to work. Oh, and maybe if and you expound upon that little twinkle of that spark of an idea. And I've had so many things resolved by not having a preconceived answer. I've got this possible answer. I could do it like this, or I'm going into meditation because the only answer that's at the moment is this one. And I know there's got to be another way, and it will present itself. Almost always. Now, here's the trick, it doesn't always show up like right now. I might have to meditate on something two or three times. So, like, man, how am I going to get out? What's the deal on this? Sometimes time has to elapse. Don't ask me why, but there are many times where I need an answer now, but the universe says we ain't got one right now. But I need an answer now. Well, I need an answer as soon as damn possible, or something, a sketch, an outline of something I can work with, right? And it might come on the third day. It might come on the fifth day. It might come when you're fast asleep and at 4 a.m. you jump up out of bed and go, Eureka, that's it. And that's okay too. But if we are telling the universe, this is my option, versus, hey, universe, I've got this option, but y'all show me some others. There's a catalog open in the universe, and you're asking the universe to show you the catalog of other options. I go, well, now, Hawkeye, what the hell does this mean? Well, there are people who are trying to make the answer by what they have. And they might be close. They might be 80% right. But they haven't, because well, that's the answer. They haven't really sat down and said, well, that's the answer as long as this happens and this happens and this happens. But if any of those things get flubbed up somehow, it ain't going to work out the way you think. You might have to adapt to a situation. Well, my brother's going to let me use his car. Well, comes time to use his car, and he goes, I'm sorry, it's broke down and you can't use it. And you go, but I was counting on it. I was going to do this and pick somebody up, and we're going to do this and this. Now, what are you going to do? Right? So you've got the answer, you've got the solution, but something in the washing machine just goes clunking around, and you got to stop, um, find out what's clunking around. So, but in that, so it works out, but sometimes reality just says, sorry, there are too many things that can get in your way to alter what seems like a really simple plan. Okay. Look at Wile E. Coyote. Okay. Just think about that for a minute. He's got it worked out, but, you know, something always comes up. It's usually the road runner stopping or going around something or something, right? So, but as planned, um, the anvil lands on the road, but he's usually under it. Something, so it does work, but not the way he had expected it. So life's like that. Oh my God, we've got thunder in the area and it was raining. Oh, I'm so yay team. So, but anyway, so the lessons of being a hermit are really important. And folks just kind of gloss over it and nah, it's okay. Well, so I don't have any meditation time. So I don't take any quiet time. Well, there's a lot of ways to take quiet time without going to the woods or having to take a walk or whatever. Now, I've talked about this when I was in jail thing. But trust me, when I was in jail and there's noise 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's never quiet. There's always something going on in the jail and it reverberates through the whole place, the concrete, the steel. It's weird. And then all the people that are there. So, but to shut it all out, to shut the fact out of my brain that I'm in jail, I'm incarcerated. When I first started this, I didn't know how much time I was going to get, if I was going to go to state prison, not a clue. So I meditated on, I just let me go back to Georgia, let me go back and hear them hog feeders, let me go back and stand on the hill and at nighttime, which was when I was trying to disassociate myself with the jail. But I've had I had so many positive astral projections and so forth to keep me from going crazy and to help me to maintain a day-to-day life in the jail. As a trustee and you're always under surveillance and everything is, yes, boss man, no, boss man, and doing things you really want to do, but you got to because you said you would accept this position kind of thing. So, but even in jail, I learned how to stay connected in the astral plane and in my own meditation. So I'm chopping up potatoes, cutting up onions, whatever it is, and you can go into the Zen mode. You can go into this thing. You're in jail, there are people around you, blah, 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 but you're in the Zen mode. You're cutting, 500 pounds of onions to go in the stew, 500 pounds of potatoes for, mashed potatoes or whatever it was they're going to make, right? And, and you got to do it in a day, plus other things, and cutting up 500 pounds of potatoes between one or two people is a lot of freaking potatoes. So, but anyway, but in that though, you can find that Zen moment when you're like, and you're cutting and you're not paying a bit of attention to the rest of what's going on in the kitchen. You are very aware of you cutting potatoes, tomatoes, whatever it is. But at the same time, the rest of the jail, the rest of the kitchen doesn't exist. You have found that Zen moment. Okay. That's part of being a hermit. That's part of that place inside. That's that quiet place. So this idea that, you know, we have to be outside in the wilderness to be able to achieve it is not true. It helps a hell of a lot. That is true. Okay. So we can absolutely say that if you can go outside and be in nature and be with Mother Nature and to have those sounds and feelings around you, it absolutely helps you. Absolutely. But there are folks who are like, well, I really wish I could calm myself better in the spirit and this. And they have these conversations. Now, they're not looking to be a shaman. Okay. But at the same time, I think some of these folks have literally given up on being spiritual at all. Because it's, well, I studied this so what do you think? Well, I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not yeah. But do you understand that there's the great spirit that out there in the universe is just, well, could be, could not be. Well, but a year ago you said, man, the great spirit, I get it, the source of all things. And now you're like, eh. So some people I think have found the faith, and for some reason they don't, there's no words to it. You don't go to church. There's no religion about it, but they find peace in nature. Okay, so you have found peace in Mother Nature. You can go sit on the banks of the river. You can sit out. We got more rain coming. There's a thunderstorm. Hallelujah. Amen. Um, but so they will make excuses up. Well, I've got this to do. I got to go do this. I got to get online. I told the kids that, well, if you told the kids something, that's not an excuse. That's, you told the kids you do something, go do it. But at the same time, be honest with yourself. Because I see some of these folks just, it's obviously they're lying. Oh, this, and I feel so full of, and I just look listening and watching, and a part of me says they're just lying through their teeth. They say they got it and they're this and that, and you can just tell by their eyes the way they're looking up and around. They don't. They don't really have it. They don't really understand it. The simplicity of just believing that we are a part of the universe. We are members of the League of Like Minded Beings. We are the Soul Tribe. We are these eternal beings. We, well, yeah, but where's God in the equation? What about him? Well, what prayer should I say? What do you mean? Well, don't I have to go worship someplace? Don't I have to, I wait, you just can't believe that it's there, that it exists, and that all nature and each one of us participates in this, that we're all pieces of sand in this great construct. Well, yeah, I get that. So, what's your problem? Well, there's just got to be something more. Does there? Because, for example, you hear me talking about the Catholic Church. Hey, it'd be um, that the Catholic Church has always got something else. Well, there are these prayers, and you got to have this sacrament, and you got to go to confession, and you got to do these things to be a Catholic. Doesn't necessarily make you spiritual or the damn, but to be a Catholic, that's what you got to do. So if you just want to be a spiritual person, what are the guidelines? Just do it. Just be spiritual. Just accept it. Oh my God. But there's no constructiveness around it. What time is it? It's at 11:11. It's 1:10. Okay, we got 10 more. So um, society and peers say, well, it can't be as simple as that. Can it? Well, yeah, it can. And honestly, it is. It's hard to get to that. It's so simple. You go, oh my God, why did I doubt this? How come I didn't believe it sooner? I mean, the things that will come through your own mind with your own realization that, oh, holy shit, I let all these people lie to me all these years, and it kept me from being on that spiritual path that I wanted. And, you know, does it mean you're going to be bowing down and doing prayers and you're meditating all day long? Well, I've talked about this. You can meditate all day long simply by stating in your head through the day, my prayer is for peace. And you just, and you're met, and so it stays in your head. My prayer today is for peace, not just in the Ukraine, but on the planet, for crying out loud. So my prayer for today is peace on the planet. And then, you know, you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and breathe it into the universe. Then later on, when you're having a break, taking a coffee break, you know, my meditation for today is that, and you repeat it again out loud if you can. You know, my prayer for today is a peace on the planet, and you go about your business. But through the day, you find these little places to say that. And what does that mean? It means that you have been meditating and praying on this subject all day long subconsciously. And when you have repeated the prayer and it has become conscious, you have been meditating on this the whole day without it interfering with your driving or phone calls or appointments. Nothing gets out of whack because you simply keep it in your subconscious and you keep it alive through the day by simple statements. And so, oh my God, do I have to, you know, make any sacrifices? What God am I worshiping? See, but society has established that you can't be spiritual unless you worship, unless it's in a synagogue, a church, or some holy place. It has to be a religion of some type, right? It can't just be you and God. It can't be just you and the Creator. It can't, what? No, no, it's got to, somebody else has got to intercede for us. Big thing in the Catholic religion. We have to have somebody, Mother Mary, intercede for me to Jesus. You're asking her to be the go between. Okay. So in the Catholic religion, the interceding of things like you pray to this saint to help because, you know, Saint Christopher. Okay. So I'm going on a trip, going to say a prayer to Saint Christopher and that I have safe journey. Okay. Anything really wrong with that? No. Did you have to make a blood sacrifice or get crucified? Or no. Saint Christopher, whether he really existed or not, you're asking the universe to help make your journey safe. Can you do that without a saint? You know, can you? What if there was no saint for traveling? Well, I'm praying to the universe to help keep me and my family safe on our vacation, on our journey. Okay, that works in and of itself without having to have a religion, without having to introduce long, lengthy prayers or going to church, masses, and all that. Can you light a candle and some incense and ask? Absolutely. You know, you want to get their attention, you know, drum the drum. All right. But do you have to worship anybody? Do you have to, you know, put out alms, sacrifices? You could honor the Creator by with tobacco or with sage or with those simple means of just being honest yourself to yourself and with other people, and to have honor to those people and to yourself and to the universe, to just, and trust me, the universe will know whether you're lying or not. If you are honestly honestly with your heart, with your soul, and with your mind, that you are honoring the universe and asking, you know, to, you know, have an angel watch over you to be safe. It's 1:15, and I'm going to start early. It's been almost an hour since I've been here this time around. I miss you all, I do. But there's been, I'm trying to get used to second shift. And I've got things that I've been doing at nighttime around here to get done. And last night, the night before, I've been working on some project outside, and I hurt my back really bad to the point where it was all I could do to just walk back and forth to the kitchen today. So anyway, we have to be careful. Um, so the hermit in us, there are some people who will use that hermit instance. Oh, well, I need my personal time. When all they are is actually they're being stingy and whatever. And because do they need their quiet time? Yeah. But I've known some people, get out of here. I need my quiet time, you know, and they're reading a book. Well, there ain't nothing wrong with reading a book and having quiet time, but they're belligerent about, I need my quiet time. You get out of here, boy. Go outside and play, blah, 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 and that, some of that quiet time for these people, it's very egotistical. When I was growing up, parents said children are to be seen and not heard, you know, and we'd get slapped, backhanded, or whatever if we made a peep, right? And so, because they wanted their time, they were being selfish and could have handled the situation. They could have handled the situation better because they were the adults. But so there are people who treat their children, their friends, like, no, this is my time, go away. And it's like they may need to read for an hour to calm themselves down and to get out of their norm or whatever it is. But when somebody spends an entire Saturday and Sunday reading because it's their time, they worked hard, and wait a minute now. So if you're going to spend 2 whole days reading books or whatever because you don't want to go outside or you don't want to be with the kids or you don't want to go to grandma's house or whatever. So there are people who use this, I got to have my me time, and they're being really selfish and egotistical. A lot of narcissistic. Yep, absolutely. And not just parents, but you're right, Isby. Woo, that was a good one. So, for whatever the reason, though, I see too many people at this moment to where they're worried about the Ukraine. And, you know, I read another thing the other day. You know me, I keep up with the news and Watchmen and all that kind of stuff. And it came up again. Let's see, this is Tuesday, Wednesday morning. It was Thursday or Friday last week. And I think it was before the Roe Wade thing. You either going to row or you're going to wade. You're either going to row or you're going to wade. I'm sorry. Having known 3 people who had abortions, and I would have been the father, but it was not my choice. So this idea of Roe, Wade, whatever, if a woman has decided she don't want it and that's her decision, that's that. Travel to another state, go to another county, go to another planet. If that's what they've decided, by the way, that's that. Um, A guy ain't got much to do with it if she has decided otherwise. Just saying. I quite possibly would have had two more children instead of just two. Maybe they would have loved me more. Who knows? Never mind. That was rude. But in this hermit time, um, I honestly think there are some folks who are really terrified of going into hibernation to look at themselves because they talk a good game, but they ain't walking it. And it's for their own good. They'll say, "Well, I know about this and I've dealt with this," and then a week later, you find that they have been in a similar situation, and in a lot of ways, they allowed it to happen. They saw the warning signs and went ahead and did it anyway. Oh, I'm suffering the consequences. Well, yeah, you damn fool. You saw it coming. This the spirit guides or whatever warned you. You could see it coming. You could see that train a coming, a rolling round the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Anyway, and time keeps dragging on. Anyway, so you can see it coming, but they stand so close to the train track that they're going to get hit. They're going to get hit. And then they turn around and bitch because they couldn't get across the track, or they didn't see they make some excuse. Oh, well, I didn't know that was the train, or you know what I mean? And it's like you saw it coming and you still didn't get out of the way. You stood right in the middle of the traffic, daring some sons of bitch to run you over. And then when you got clipped by the car and your elbow got hit by by the by the side mirror, and you want to complain about it, but you're the one that got in the road. You're the one that got in. Just say it. And then there are those people who are just like, well, I know all about the spirit, and I'm untouchable, and I look at them kind of folk and go, what are you on? I'm just asking, but what are you on? What do you mean? What am I on? Well, what are you on? Because you've got this like, oh, life is so pretty, and there are butterflies, and there are unicorns and rainbows. Yeah. Okay. And what about the snakes on the ground? What about the alligators? What about piranha in the rivers? What about but oh, but and I'm like, oh, well, I've talked to God. Good for you. And what do you, oh, unicorns and rainbows and butterflies and puppy dogs. And let's not forget kittens and bunny rabbits. Oh my God, bunny rabbits. Oh, and I go, huh? Yeah. Oh, I heard the whale song and now it's so beautiful and my Akashic record and blah, blah, blah. And they babble on about stuff and they haven't said 2 cents worth of anything except babble. And it's like, and I'm paying attention, like, give me just a little bit of something really cool that really is like profound. Ooh, butterflies and transformation. And okay. And ooh, and the sun and the moon and the stars. Well, okay. Oh, and it's so lovely. Uh, you know, unicorns and rainbows and butter. Okay. Not a clue. Now, I don't know if they're stuck in another dimension, honestly, because in their eyes, it's all about unicorns and rainbow. Everything's a fucking rainbow. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. There were rainbow thises and rainbow that's and okay. But there are some of these folks that I've listened to, and they can't get through a conversation without mentioning a rainbow a time or two, you know. Just find some strange way to add rainbow to the conversation. Just well, okay. Now I kind of get where they're coming from, but when that's all they discuss time after time after time after time. I get the impression that they're just on some kind of something and they can't get off of that track. That's literally a one track mind. Well, what about all the other things in the universe? Oh, rainbows and butterflies and okay, I got you there. But oh, and the glow and Mother Nature and oh and it's just okay. They've got some type of euphoria that I'm in a way it starts to sound corny. I mean, after 10 minutes of chatting with them, it's just like, holy please, Jesus. Are you're gonna mention rainbows again? I mean, okay, all right, I love you, but it doesn't seem to be any substance to their faith in unicorns and rainbows and Mother Nature and oh, okay, but it's like there's nothing in there but air, okay? And they're not all blondes neither. And I gotta say though that 98% of those folks who have that shininess in the universe are women. Very few men think about rainbows and unicorns. Okay, I'm just stating the fact. I can see flowers. I see flowers in the trees and red roses too. Long in the night, while I will do, and I say to myself, it's a wonderful world. So yeah, I get that part. The I see butterflies and dragonflies and the birds and oh my God, there's a blue jay that's living around here around the house and the property. I haven't seen a blue jay in years, and there's one that was out on the ground earlier this afternoon, and I was like, what? But anyway, so years ago, I had kind of given up on seeing these songbirds in my yard again, and lo and behold, they're not plentiful, but they're here. Where a couple of years ago couldn't find a songbird, even with putting out bird seed and so forth. So I see the universe, but I don't see unicorns, and the rainbows are like, you know. But I see all other kinds of colors and things, and understand and feel things. And so I've asked these folks who talk about rainbows and unicorns all the time and go, but what else? Oh, it's that feeling of Mother Nature and she loves us. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay. Except that there's more to it than what they continuously talk about. So I say to these folks, explore this a little more. Oh, the whales, oh, and the dolphins, and ooh, and there you just can see right through this eye to the back of their head and reflecting it. I mean, this is like there ain't nothing else in there. And I try to give them to, well, what about the dolphins? Oh, the dolphins, they're so mammalish and the whale song and the okay. Anything else? Oh, the whale and oh the dolphin. All right, never mind. They're off in their own little world with the unicorns. So are they wrong? Maybe in their description of these things, they see the universe in a oddly different light than what I see it. I can understand theirs, but they don't get mine at all. So better than them talking about evil things and yum yum. So, but anyway, I keep praying for everybody, and I'm, if they see rainbows and unicorns and they're happy with life, and I'm not going to interrupt them. But every time I've tried to ask if there's something else to it, oh, I'm just one with the universe and the clouds, and okay. But then there are people who don't give a rat's ass about none of it, none, right? And so it's like, um, so what about them rainbows? Ah, rainbows. It's all about gays and lesbians and all them queer folk. Okay, rainbows. So now to some folks, rainbow, and don't you talk to me about no rainbows. Okay. Or what they mean, or okay. And if you're talking about unicorns and you're over 9 years old, then you've obviously got some kind of weird fantasy. If you're 25 years old and you're still talking unicorns, we have a nice day, right? That's how people look at this. So they look stupid to the rest of the world when they talk about is rainbows and unicorns. Now there are folks who all they can talk about is rainbows, okay, and nothing else exists but the LGBTQRSP rainbow. Oh, the rainbow is this, and all of us, and we are the rainbow. Okay, you're a skittle, right? Taste the rainbow. Okay. And there's, by the way, what Dante has said about the rainbow. Okay, and it was given to the planet and to the four brothers uh, by the goddess because it's what also happens on Jupiter. There are rainbows on Jupiter. So there's a whole nother like twist to this rainbow thing. But to the point that there are folks who think it only means one thing. And it's been adopted by the LGBTQ, all them folks. And that so now the rainbow means this, but it could also have other meanings. So my point to that is that, there folks are like, oh, but ain't that Mother Nature? Isn't it the goddess? Isn't the source of all things? Isn't it us interacting with nature and with one another and with different groups that we have expanded our own comprehension of things? What? Oh, but the rainbows, and then okay, all right, okay. I'm just saying there's more to it than that. All right. But now, if some people, I don't mean this negatively. If some people are, I got no other way to say this. If they are simple-minded in that that's how they see it, God love them, leave them be. Okay. Don't pick on them. But I do try to ask what else is mixed in there with it. Oh yeah, sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, everything. Now I'm trying to think. Petula Clark, no. Ann Redding. Um, all right, Chloe, who did it? We're together. Bum, 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 bum. Yep, okay. But so anyway, first we have to my at first my brain said Petula Clark and then Ann Redding, and I think it might have been Petula Clark. Anyway, sometimes my first answer is the right one, um, without thinking it, and overthinking it. So, but anyway, first these we folk, I've already chosen. Maybe you have. I'm a shaman in training, and until I pass on into this next realm, I'm still going to be a shaman in training, as far as I know, in this reality. Other folks, you know, they just want to be good people. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right. Then there are some folks who claim they want to follow the shaman path, but they do it half assed and they do it in such a way is like, oh, look at me. I'm on the shaman's journey. Really? What you doing about it? Oh, well, I've done this. Okay. And I've tried to do that. Okay. I'm not trying to discount, but they claim two or three things have happened to them. Not that it's bad, but now all of a sudden they that those two or three things that they've experienced is somehow 50 years of experience by somebody like me who's been on this road for 50 years literally. And oh, I had this thing and over the course of 6 months. Okay. Now I ain't saying you can't learn and see and experience stuff. But if you've only done it in the last 6 months, you need to give that shit some time because what you experience now and in these last 6 months, in 6 months, your mind's going to change. It's going to alter, hopefully for the better, because you will learn even more from that experience if you allow your spirit to do so. If you allow your spirit to be open, say, okay, universe, what's next? Versus I got this, I know all about this, and there are rainbows and butterflies. Okay, I'm repeating that way too much. That one was sarcastic because they claim they got this. They know everything there is to know, and that they don't need any more information, and that if you don't believe their story, we're the quacks. Now, God knows I want to say it ain't about who's right or who's wrong. But I do want to say there are some folks who are just going about one of the simplest things in the universe, and they're making it so flippin' difficult. It's lost all meaning. Well, I'm doing this because the spirit told me to do this or that and this or that and go out and blah blah blah. Okie doke. But at the end of the day, they have wasted a lot of time and energy on trying to achieve this thing, mental, spiritual, whatever, when they just could have closed their eyes for 5 minutes and got there anyway. So, just simply stating, I accept and receive the knowledge and the healing and the many blessings and wisdoms from the universe. But somehow that ain't enough. I accept and believe without any kind of prejudice. I accept and believe without a religion. I accept and believe for myself and for my connection with the universe and my connection with source. I don't have to go through anybody else to get there. The story about deer and the fawn on the mountain when she's going up to see the Great Spirit. And along the way, there's this nasty, mean, ugly, crude, rude, monster, a troll, uh, uh, the ugliest, meanest, baddest critter in the world. And the deer goes up, fawn goes up and says, hey, Mr. Troll, you're in the way. I'm going up the mountain to talk with Great Spirit. Rawr, tries to scare the deer right in the deer with its eyes. And if you've ever met a young deer and you look into its eyes, you melt. You just and having helped raise a few over the years, it's like, man, you just can't ever forget that also. But in that, so here's Fawn who melted the heart of this demon to the size of a walnut, it says. And so now deer, because of its gentleness and its compassion and its lack of fear towards this demon, that the road to the Great Spirit is clear for us. Much like Jesus dying for our sins. So if you were to believe that the fawn, the deer, vanquish the demon and that the road to Spirit Mountain is open to all of us, you go, I don't know, that's just a story. Is it? If you would understand it from a shaman's point of view, in that the deer cleared the way. In other words, none of us should be fearful. Well, what if you meet a demon along the way? Then be like Fawn and be gentle and say, look, I'm just going, I just want to get by to go up here, and I don't want to fight you. I don't want to argue, I just want to go talk to the old dude up on the mountain, or the old lady, or the whoever them folk. I want to go to Spirit Mountain. And so, no, you can't do that. Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. So now, if you believe that all these things are keeping you from reaching the Great Spirit, well, I can't do it because I need a prayer. I should be going to church. I should light some candles. I need to do a drum. You need to shut up and do it. Quit making it. See, because I was the same way. I made up excuses for not just sitting still for a couple minutes and connecting. Oh, I got to go all these through. Holy moly, crap on my goalie. I gotta sing a chant now. If I don't talk to the Lord like this, He ain't gonna hear me. Oh my God, if I don't get on my hands and knees, He ain't gonna hear me. Oh my, holy crap! Uh, some of the canta, can, canticles of the Catholic Church. Nomine Patris et Spiritus Sanctus. Amen. Sounds better in a big echoey spot, but anyway, yeah, used to do that, right? Used to sing them. So, but no, you ain't got to. The thing is, you can sing if you wanna. You can dance if you wanna. You can dance. Da da dum da dum da 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 da. Bum. Got a lot of songs in my head tonight, right? You can dance if you want to. Da da dum da da dum da da dum da 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 dum. Anyway, so um, it's that society tells you, well, you can't just do that and get away with it. No, you got to go to church. No, you have to worship. No, you got to do all these things. No, you got to be baptized. No, wait a minute. As soon as you open your eyes in the morning, when you close your eyes at night, and mine flutter in between because I have to get up and pee so many times. Um, but oh, thank you for the rain, Lord. Oh my God, it smells so good. It does. I looked at it across the yard. Now, last Sunday, Father's Day, my dear friend came by and mowed my lawn, mowed the field, mowed over here, mowed about 3 acres of property for me that day. God love him, man. And it just looked so nice, but it's been so hot. You can just hear the ground going, help me, I need water. And thank you, Jesus, and the rest of the spirits. We got water right now. So, besides me and Duggar peeing outside. But anyway, but the hermitage that lives within our heart, we got to go there. We have to go take time, and we have to just shut up and listen. There are times when I want clarification of something. So you can meditate on that. Say, man, I had this dream the other night, and you don't try to like focus on it. You actually have to let go of it, but let it kind of just trickle in the back of your mind. It's just sort of like a thread. So I'm not, I had this dream the other night, and the harder I try to force myself to remember, it just doesn't happen. So I want to remember that weird dream I had the other night that was so real. Something about my arm. I felt like I don't know, there were people. Show it to me. Show me, just show it to me. Don't try to explain it. I just show it to me. So that dream I had the other night, you're already giving the parameters to your brain, to your unconscious, okay? It knows what it was. It knows what you were dreaming. You are blocking it because you're trying too hard to remember. So the trying so hard is what you got to do. That's the tough part. When you are focusing on trying to remember what it meant, you're trying too hard. You got to just let up. You just got to take your foot off the gas and coast. And you got to believe that you're going fast enough that you're not going to run off the highway or something. And but then the brain will go, that dream was about such and such, and you can kind of see it floating around in your subconscious. But if I try to zero in, okay, what was this about? That it just goes away. So it's the not focusing on it that's the focus for the understanding. What? Yeah, you got to focus on not focusing. You got to focus on just allowing it to happen. What? That's the focus. But I thought Hawkeye, didn't you just say not to focus on? Yes, you don't focus on the dream. You focus on what it could mean. Okay, now what could that dream mean? But I'm just going to sit here and just allow it to happen. So it is one of those conundrums. But if you yourself, if you have tried to force yourself to remember something, how uh, how how good were you at it? And was it when you just said, "Oh, never mind," and you went to look for something else in your head that it something actually came out after the fact when you quit trying to force it so hard? That's the hard part, is to not trying to force it. Your focus is on trying not to over focus. I mean, it's so silly, but it's the truth. And when you learn how easy it is and just accept it and know that it's there all the time. Now, this dream I had the other night, it's still only coming out in tiny little pieces. But somewhere in the information, it was like, yeah, you was really there, and yeah, there were really people there, and yeah, such and such and such, but we're just going to leave it at that. So in my brain, I'm like, well, how important was it? Or was it just something that I saw and participated in? It was a happy time. I was in a good place. And maybe that's all that dream meant. There wasn't anything else. But when I came out of it, I knew it was something special. And that's what I wanted to know. Like, okay, it felt it was really special. And so what about it? And they answer came back that it might have just been that you were having fun. It was a good dream and you felt good and everything, that's what the dream was for. Nothing else. Oh, but there was a deeper meaning. No. But in my heart, in myself, it felt stronger. And the strength was in that I was having a good time. I was interacting with the people. The food was good. Whatever it was that was going on, it was a positive. And that's what the dream was for. Nothing else. Okay. Now, if something else comes out of this, I'll let you know. But at right now, that's what it is. So that hermit that is within us all, that hermit that wants to maybe go hide, maybe just throw the blanket over your head and get a flashlight and read something or something, right? It's the person who wants to go take that walk. And, walking the dog is okay, but you'd rather not have the dog sometimes. As much as I love my Duggar and going to the woods, there are times when I wished he didn't go with me because he'll run to the river and back. And if there's any deer or other critters, I ain't going to see him because he done chased them away and scared them up. But sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes having a dog, fleshing out critters, could be a cubby of quail, could be some deer, could be some turkey. So sometimes you will see more if the dog is there. Sometimes. Now, it's an hour and 20 minutes, and what's it's 1:53 in the morning. Is that right? 1:51. Yeah, I don't know how much longer I'll keep this subject up. But here's the thing. People have to be honest with themselves at all times. And if they're trying to make up stories, or they seen Jeannie do it, and that, I'm trying to model my spiritual guidance because of my friend Jeannie, and I really look up to her and all that, and I can feel what Jeannie feels, or um, 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 what's that word? Commiserate, feels what it feels the same. Can anyway. So, so Baba Louie is following Jenny and is feeling the empathy and so forth from Jenny. But Baba Louie ain't feeling Baba Louie's self. Baba Louie is feeling Jenny's self. She's Baba Louie is uh, living through Jenny's eyes. Well, Jenny feels this way, and I understand Jenny, but Baba Louie ain't got a connection of their own. Their connection to the spirit, or maybe to music, or to theater, or to something, is through their friend Jenny. It's not their own true feeling. And now Jenny likes Baba Louie, and she thinks, oh, Baba Louie's right up with me, when Baba Louie is following Jenny in the spiritualness of it. So there's Jenny don't know it, but she's interceding for Baba Louie, because Baba Louie ain't got enough faith in themselves to believe in themselves. If you can understand what Jenny's feeling, then you should understand the universe. Well, I don't feel I can understand it on my own. I need my friend Jenny, and we talk about this, and I understand what she's talking about, but they don't. Baba Louie ain't got the stuff to believe it on their own, but they believe it, and they're trying. But they're so close that they're living spiritually vicariously through the you know through Jenny in this example. Now Jenny could be anything. It could be a magazine, it could be a religion, it could be a preacher, or somebody. It could be me, in that they will say, well, I understand this, but I don't understand it without Hawkeye. I don't understand it without Jenny. I don't understand it without Mother Mary. I don't understand it without something. But you understand it really well when you have the confidence that this Jenny, you and her, they are like, synchronicity, and everything's going fine. But when Jenny's not in the picture, you're all by yourself, and you're floundering, and you don't have the faith, and you don't believe that you can do it on your own. Well, but you were doing it on your own with Jenny. But Jenny hasn't left. Jenny's still part of the process, and Baba Louie hadn't figured that out yet, because they're so focused on trying so hard, they haven't allowed themselves to just go, wait a minute, if I can see Jenny, and I believe that Jenny's got it because of the way she acts and the way she speaks and all of these things. And I really believe in Jenny, and I feel the emotions and the empathy, and I go along with Jenny. Oh my God, we're sisters. But as soon as that person or entity or whatever isn't there, and they're standing by themselves, they somehow lose faith. And we need to help these folks simply by saying, "You got this. You already got it. Quit worrying about whether or not you got it." Because in your most simplest of understandings, you got the basics. You got it. But you're relying on this thing over here this is part, Jenny, she helps me with my faith. Okay. Friends do that. We interact. Nothing wrong with that. But are you standing on the shoulders of Jenny, or are you standing on your own 2 feet? There, Babaloo. Hey, Babaloo. Sodite? Sodite. Quick Straw McGraw, by the way. Some cool cartoons back in the day. But anyway, hey, Baba Louie was the little deputy, right? So, but Baba Louie and Quick Straw. And in a way, there are some honest to goodness connections there, with like, and hey, Katniss, how are you doing? I mean, Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, hey, Boo Boo, smarter than the average bear. When Boo Boo's actually,
Hey Yogi, uh, don't you think that the park ranger is gonna get you?
oh, come on now, Baba Louie, hey, smarter than the average bear. And actually, guess who was smarter in the end? Baba Louie or Boo Boo, Um, but anyway, so I'm up on cartoon characters tonight for some reason, old cartoons. But anyway, um, where was I headed with? Oh, so I can understand honestly why people say, "Well, I don't know if I go to church with somebody else, I feel more connected," or if I'm having a chat with somebody else and we're talking spiritualism, I feel more connected. I get it. I really, 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 really do. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Boo Boo. What's in the picnic basket? Yep, picnic. And I think that's why you were trying to spell it out there, Tracy. Picnic a basket. Hey, Boo Boo.
But Yogi, come on, Yogi, the park ranger's gonna get us now.
All right, Boo Boo. Anyway, I I learned how to mimic their voices back in the day, and I could do Donald Duck, and which with missing teeth, it's hard to get some of the right inflections. Hey, Jules, how you doing? So, and uh, I'm sorry. We're an hour and 28 minutes into this, and it's 6:20. It's 2 o'clock. It just turned 2. Uh, uh, please forgive me, but I'm going to do this little joke here. Then it was about Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. The judge, Mr. Mouse, is in the courtroom, and the judge says, Mr. Mouse, Mickey, Mr. Mouse, you can't divorce your wife, Minnie, simply because she's crazy. And Mickey looks at the judge and he goes, I never said she was crazy, Your Honor. I said she was fucking goofy. my bad impression. I used to do it better, but my voice has changed after all these years. But so yeah, Minky says, I never said she was crazy, Your Honor. you know. So anyway, it's a bad joke, but I still laugh every time I think about it. But anyway, so but in the hermit in us, it's sort of like going in. I akin it to the bear in hibernation, and going within and going into the dream time, and kind of sort of like lizard, where the lizard lives in the dream time. Two sets of eyes. So he's sitting under his rock, and Snake comes in, and Snake's like, what's this going on? And he says, well, he said I could. Um, um, Lizard says, I could have dreamt you. I could have imagined you. But I dreamt this, and it's like, what? So, the different critters in the cards, but the different critters in the world, you know, and the types of things, how they act in nature, how they react in nature. And that, the story of the fawn, the deer. If the fawn has cleared the devil off of the road to Sacred Mountain, how hard would that be as a visual to believe that you too can walk that same road, that same spiritual path? Do you have the faith? Or are you going to take in society and all these other things? And sometimes it takes going within the self to make sure that you understand it, that you're not being swayed by this or that, that you're good with who you are. Now, there are folks who have done this hermit thing, and they have come out to be some absolutely cranky. Now, I know I got some strange points of view, but these folks are like, I don't know, they're like Democrats. Now, I used to be a Democrat, and I don't know what I am now, but I ain't a Democrat. Okay. But holy mackerel. So there are a lot of folks that you can just see plastic boots and plastic hats, little Frank Zappa to throw in there. Brown shoes don't make it. Quit school, why fakey? TV dinner by the pool. Mothers of Invention and Frank Zappa. But the idea, though, that if you participate, so you can participate by believing that we are in touch with the universe at all times without having to have a god or some kind of entity we have to pray to, or a litany of prayer. We don't have to light candles and get on all fours and bow to any particular direction, or you can, um, because there's absolutely things, that amount to the ceremony. But when you understand that the ceremony is just to honor, the ceremony doesn't necessarily get you any closer or make it easier for you to connect with the spirit. Because the thing is, once you realize you're always connected, then it seems a little senseless to go through all these motions every single time, because you feel that that's the only way that you can get close to, quote, God, right? But when you get it, and it's like, wait a minute, Creator is like right around me right now. It's around you. It's around us. We ain't got to go looking. It's just there, you know? And when we acknowledge it, and we say, absolutely, I am a member, and I know this with my heart and my soul. I know I am a member of the League of Like Minded Beings, because we all understand this basic fact. So now that we are part of a group, oh, ooh, we belong. but we belong to the universe before we had to give it a name, right? So the League of Like-Minded Beings is just a name for all of these spirits and entities and beings and all these things that are already in the universe and have been and will be, that they're already there. And we've already been connecting and passing by and, and all this stuff. And when you just go, oh, yeah, I see how I am a member. I see how I am part of this bigger deal. I see how I am a part of a soul tribe. Now, there are some folks, and I might hurt some feelings, but there are some folks, ooh, the soul tribe, I'm a member of the soul tribe. And it's about being a member. It's not about the tribe. Oh, I'm a member of the soul tribe. And the soul tribe in this, yeah, but we existed before you gave it a name. Okay. But they have to have a name and they have to have precedence, and it's almost like prestigious, where I'm part of the soul tribe. Yeah, okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there are some folks who have just gotten a little bonkers with it, in my humble opinion, in that we need to back that bus up a little bit, because you're talking too much and you ain't listening. Well, it's soul tribe and it's vibration. Okay, then shut up and listen. And listen, not to me, but listen to yourself. Do you hear your vibrations? I don't know about you, but your vibrations, because you're part of the soul tribe, is making me nuts. Your energy thingy and whatever, and it's not about your their enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic. But some folks, I think, I don't know, their soul tribe means something special to them, and they want to be a part of something special when they're using the name and the suggestion of it as a crutch. Do they? I have scratched my head and kind of wondered, do some of these folks really understand what it means to be tribal? I'm sorry, but a lot of these folks are just white folk and just have never understood native traditions or feelings or stuff like that. So the tribe is family, it's God, it's the universe, tribe, and all the things, the pride that goes with the tribe. And what does that pride mean? What does all of, but I'm part of it. Good. I mean that honestly. But in their overuse of the word tribe, oh, the soul tribe does. The soul tribe, 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 tribe. They don't get it because they're using the word way too much. Because they're trying to overemphasizing the word that we are automatically, naturally a part of. So, but by using the word over and over and over, it's almost like I got to convince myself. And I have to convince others, well, you're part of this whole tribe too. And the tribe this and the tribe that and the blah, blah, blah. And the tribe and the tribe and the tribe and the tribe. And by over talking about it, they missed the point. My spirit guides have been laughing about some of this for a while. And they'll look down at me and they'll go, there goes one. And what do you mean? And there's another triber. And not necessarily in this group, but I mean, there's another triber. Ooh, we're all part of the tribe, and everything is about the tribe, and everything is about. It's like, okay, it gets to be redundant, like me repeating myself. Over the years, I've tried to not repeat myself as much as I did 2 years ago, for example. I have succeeded in that up to a point, but I still get to, going into a loop and going back into something. But this thing about the soul tribe thing, there are just some folks who are using the word and its meaning or whatever. I guess it's like, well, I'm a Girl Scout, or I'm a Boy Scout, or I'm I'm a Buddhist. but I'm Native American. It's something to give them recognition to belong to a thing, a something. Well, the thing is, we were a part of it before it ever had a name, and the tribe is just one name, you know. And the like-minded, the society, the league of like-minded beings. That it's just a saying to describe who we are and what we feel. But we're all in this spiritualness. Oh, that's the soul tribe. Okay. And the soul tribe. Okay. All right. I get it. We are a part of it. So quit. I don't think they've accepted it. They have to keep saying it in order to convince themselves, I think, sometimes, or to convince somebody else. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I see that some folks have used it as a crutch. And in the crutch, I mean this. And they have to be with the soul tribe or engaged with the soul tribe somehow to feel a part of the soul tribe, when by definition, soul tribe, we are a tribe of souls who understand. So if you have to keep referring to it to try to find the meaning of it or your association with it, just accept it. Yes, part of the soul tribe. Yep, also part of this group here. And we overlap, and yeah, we're part of the angel group, and we're part of another spiritual group. And because with those different set of circumstances, there is a different description for almost the same thing. League of like-minded beings, soul tribe, pert near the same thing, in my humble opinion. Well, we got 1 minute or two. Anyway, I'm gonna light this thing. So I mean no disrespect to anybody within the soul tribe community or whatever. But if you find yourself using those words too often, and you gotta be honest with yourself. There's some people who are like, oh, I don't use it that often. When there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is, there. Yeah, you do. So the point is, are you having to prove something to yourself? Is the hermit in you not sure of your place? And so you might need to go into the hermit's den. Gloomy, is the shutters are closed, and there might be a little candle in the corner somewhere, and there's stuff and herbs all over the place. Woo, this flavor makes me cough a lot. Hey, Houdini. So there are going to be some folks that might hear my previous words and go, well, he's picking on me. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying, why the necessity to repeat it all the time? Why the necessity to, and my first impression from my spirit guides are, because you have to repeat it all the time, does that mean you don't really get it? There's a reason why people repeat things over and over and over and over, and in them of themselves, somehow they haven't gotten it in their own spirit. For what, not good or bad, it's just there there's something's missing. Not necessarily good or bad, okay, but they're missing something because they have the necessity to reaffirm it all the time. So, do I know I'm part of the soul tribe? Absolutely. Do I have to say it very often? No, because it just is. I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe. I know it. Are other people part of the tribe? Absolutely. I believe, I believe, I believe. Are we all members of the League of Like Minded Beings? Yes. I just believe it. Why? Because some of us have met at different times, whether in this chat room or Brian's or however. Those of us who have met over the years, some of you I've talked to on the phone and whatever. And but here's the thing: we've connected over time and space on this thing called the internet, on my YouTube channel, and all you wonderful people who have are my subscribers. I love you all. I do. And so, because we're all searching for something, right? As the teacher, this came across, they reminded me the other day, my spirit folks, they said, you know, for many years you were the pupil, okay. In fact, you were David. And then through the teachings and your wanting to be a part of more than just you became Hawkeye. And the Hawkeye is, you know, we're the same people, but Hawkeye is the more spiritual side of me. And that when I say I'm Hawkeye Two Feathers, I'm speaking in terms of the shaman walking. When I say, hi, I'm David Null, I'm the puppeteer and the storyteller, I'm the engineer and all this. Now am I still the spiritual person? Is the shaman guide still with? Absolutely. But I don't have to say it all the time. But the differential is there. So as Hawkeye, I I am more focused on the spiritual. I am more focused on the tribal sense of things, but more tribal than just in the spirit tribe, the soul tribe. It's more than just the soul, it's the spirit and the soul and parts of the physical too, that relate, physical things that relate to the spiritual and the mental. There are Native American folks that I've met over the years, and I've said this, and I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, but they're just born knowing their connection to the Great Spirit, where white people have to be taught somehow or learnt, you know, because of the white society. Whether you're a Catholic or a Presbyterian or a Buddhist or whoever, Muslim, doesn't matter. But, you know, it's that that part of being Catholic that as a child, when I saw the the spirit of Mother Mary around, you know, when I was during my first communion, it was because of the setting. Now, if I had been in a different religion, would this quote vision or whatever have happened to me? Not in the same way, obviously. So society, because my parents were Catholic, Roman Catholic at that, and followed these, and at that time the procedure was this within the church. That's how it turned out. So by visions and communication with Mother Mary through the Catholic Church and beyond the Catholic Church, it was only because I was raised in the church that Mother Mary was this um, entity, this entity. But then when I started learning about Native American things, and when I took the plunge and said, I believe this, you know, I believe the Great Spirit, and I believe in the drum, and I believe in the dance, and the connection that these people were absolutely born with. And then White Dove was interjected into my life and as a spirit guide, and literally appeared to me. What a beautiful woman she was, or is, or whatever. And White Dove, she glowed in white buckskin and taught me so much. And I'm still learning from, because the things that I learned literally 20 years ago. Yep, 20 years ago, because it's 2022, right? So it was about 2002. I was picking this stuff up. So 20 years ago, officially, and she would ride in the truck with me and give me these scenarios and say, "How would you react?" And well, I'm just like this. And she very kindly, she'd just smile and shake her head and go, "Nah, that ain't going to work. And this is why." And she'd go, "If you spoke to this person like this or asked a question like this," because I'm trying to find out questions about myself, having found out that I had Native American background in me, nobody wanted to talk about, especially on the Lee side of the family, when I could also be related to Robert E. Lee, right? And there's a really high percentage that I am versus not. So that's interesting in of itself. But I don't go around and try to look. Hey, I'm David. No, I'm a descendant of Robert E. Lee. Uh, no, I have discussed it. I've discussed my family history, so forth, only because I'm still learning about it for myself. What does it mean to me after all these years? Or does it mean anything? And so in the spirit realm of things, there are people who really don't give two craps. Well, if I cheat a little over here, if I do something over here, I play a trick on somebody, and so it hurts their feelings. Well, it was just a prank. I was just joking. And I'm saying this because I knew some people who did these things to me, and I'm like, yeah, and you're just an asshole because you thought it would be funny, and other people were like, ha 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 ha. But actually, you were just being an asshole. You're being cruel. A practical joke, but that was just, it ain't like popping a balloon behind somebody and them jumping or jumping out of a closet. No, you're doing something that actually is mean and digs and hurts. Well, it's just a practical joke. No, so these same people will claim that they are part of the soul tribe and that they understand what's going on. And these same people will backbite. These same people will um, stretch the truth about another person or what he said, she said. Now, if you're really a part of the soul tribe, backbiting and doing this kind of shit is not in the cards at all. Period. It ain't there. But unfortunately, it is here and there. How you doing, Tracy? Sounds like Babu. You doing all right, Houdini? Jules, Tracy, and I was. Anyway, in a way, I'm kind of bitching, but not. I'm bitching to the fact that I'm hoping some of these folks will like catch it, because it took me a while to catch it when I went through certain phases like this, and you got to get off of that, really. And one of the reasons why, as the folks are telling me right now, is that when you focus on the tribe and the tribe this and the tribe that, you're not paying attention to your own tribe. Me, myself, and I. You, yourself, and you. That tribe. The tribe of one. Your tribe. And some folks are living vicariously through the soul tribe members, more than one, and one way or the other. And they're living vicariously through these other people within the league of like-minded beings. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to emulate somebody else's behavior, especially if it's a good one. I want to be like that person. They're calm, they're kind, they've always got something nice to say, they've always got a smile. I'm that one right over there. I want to be like them in that respect. I want to emulate that attitude, but I don't want to become them. Where other folks, they don't have their own identity because they have been living vicariously through different peoples or through, I'm going to use this, and I only mean it as an outline, but there are some folks who have this outline of what the soul tribe means to them. And so in their head, there is a structure to it. Now, for me, the soul tribe is a collective of souls. There is no structure. It just is. Okay? Think about that. But because of this time in our lives and the choices we have made, there are people who need the name Soul Tribe because they really want to belong to something. And do they believe they belong? Yeah. But they have to keep reinforcing it because they're afraid they're going to lose it or something. And it's like, listen, the tribe is there, whether you speak to people or don't speak, whether I do a video or not. Hey, Deborah, how are you? And so, in having been here for 7 or 8 years now on YouTube and having had conversations with all you lovely people, one or two, and I mean that literally, only one or two not so lovely, but we've managed. Um, but it's all about all of us learning the lessons of the universe. Now, I speak of these things, and well, that's your opinion. Okay, it is my opinion, but my opinion is based on other people's opinions, other elders, other shamans, other spiritual leaders, other entities. So, yeah, it is my story, but we're all connected in this because you all have guardian angels. You all are part of the soul tribe. You all are members of the League of Like Minded Beings because we just are. And well, I don't know. What are the criteria? The criteria is the fact that you're going to understand that, oh my God, like minded beings. And there's a bunch of us. Holy crap. When that realization, you know, there is a group and I didn't even know I belonged, you know. And until I started bringing it up many years ago, there were people who had, like me, who had this. I know I belong somewhere, but because it's us. We're the League of Like Minded Beings. Is anybody in charge? No. There are um, guest speakers. I consider myself a guest speaker or an MC for a topic, for those of us with like minded beings. How do we think about this subject? How are we affected by this thing? It's like the Roe versus Wade thing. There are so many people that really have their panties in a knot, who are 60 years old and bitching that they can't get it, that they don't have the right to get an abortion. What? Um, and there are folks, uh, it's stupid. Having had people in my lifetime that had abortions that would have been my children. Uh, I'm not going to speak about it because of the woman's thing, but from a man's point of view, having had no control over either of the situations because they made up their minds. Okay, so my opinion of Roe versus Wade, does a woman have the right to make her own decision? I absolutely believe that. Okay, but is this particular thing the answer or the solution to some of these things? Well, to these women, it was. Okay. And I'm going to leave it at that. But from a man's point of view, you kind of just left me hanging over here. Like, well, I was involved and I still want to be involved, and I would have taken the responsibility. That was not the issue. They just decided they didn't want a child with me for whatever reason. Didn't want it. said adios, and like, wow, okay. So, love's lost over the many years of my trials and tribulations, but it helped establish how I feel about it. But to see these people going bonkers over it, it's just like, y'all got to stop this now. Because really, what you are is you're killing a baby, you're killing a person, you are taking it out of the equation. I don't give a what anybody else says. You don't want it for whatever the reason is. What about the other party, like me or the other men? Not every situation is that there isn't a father who would care for it. Or maybe you should have the child and adopt it out to a gay couple, for example, or whatever. But that you have literally murdered someone, um, and that's that. Okay. Now you give it this window of opportunity in which you will permit this death. But the bottom line, it's a death. Now, I know this because one of the doctors where I was at during one of the situations literally brought me pieces of the fetus in a napkin and said, this is what they look like at this age. A little hand, a little arm, and that's it. This is what we had to do. We had to murder this child in order for the abortion to take place. And oh, by the way, here's a hand and an arm. The doctor made his point. This is a human being that you made me destroy because you needed this procedure. And oh, by the way, here's one of his hands and his arm. How about that for up front and in your face kind of shit? So the procedure now, they use vacuum cleaners and stuff and whatever, and you're in there and a little sucky booby and they're out because I drove for some person that had that procedure done down in Tallahassee. And so unless you have been there and felt it, unless you have discussed it with people, I lost something in the deal twice, two separate people over time. But to the point though, um, nothing to do with the decision myself, but to just have to go along. Now, do you believe there's something more? Do you believe that that little hand and that little foot that I saw that the doctor held in that napkin, was that a life? Yes or no? When you see it minutes after the procedure's done, and you go, "This is what we took out of you or her, and this would have been yours." Well, actually, it is yours, man. These are the parts. Oh, and by the way, it's just going in the dump. How many people have stopped and thought about that, about the woman's rights and about the this and about the law and all the pennies in the wad kind of thing and people wanting to fight and stuff? Y'all sit down and have a conversation, pretty please. Y'all ain't really paying attention. So should the woman have the right? Okay. Is 3 months or whatever the period is that like enough time? Is that like too much time? No matter what you're doing, you are destroying that. Whatever size it is now gone. You sucked it out of reality, just literally. Vacuum cleanered it right out of there. There you go. So what's that got to do with anything about we're discussing here? Having to do with the spiritual side of things. There were some folks that just had no connection to the procedure. Nope, out of here, it's gone. Bye bye. Don't want nothing to do with it. And I mean, after all these years, it was not done to me. It, but it was. But it has still affected me all these 25 or 30 years later. Deborah says it's hard to be a person who believes that all can be done and not consider the potential of any human being for greatness. It was pushed hard in the 80s and made to seem normal. Yep. And I've talked with some women who gave up children, but they just were way too young. They had no father. There was no support group. And they just, now God bless Dolores, my real mother, in that she had me, but there was none of that back in the day. And because she figured that she would figure it out, even at the age of 16. So now I was adopted by my Uncle Arnie, and then my sister was born, Lynn. And Ma tried her best to, keep her, and that didn't work out, was adopted by my uncle. Now, it wasn't that she didn't try to keep us, she really did. But she could have, quote, aborted us, in the newer terminology, but she came to term with us. Even the third one in line, our brother Dennis, whose name has been changed to Michael, but he still prefers Dennis. But the three of us, out of wedlock, young woman trying to do this, and then she has the rest of the clan, right? But at no point did she not want us. She tried to get me and Lynn adopted by the man she was married to, and he up and left her. And and then she was pregnant with, and so there was an adoption right out of the bag that most folks we didn't even know about till after Mom died. So here's this thing about abortion. Me and my sister and Michael, uh, Dennis, we were adopted, so we can speak on this. No, she didn't abort us. She tried her best to keep us, but she made sure we were adopted by good folk. In Lynn and I's case, it was by her brother. How safe could me and my sister be with her brother? She trusted her brother, Arnie. And so there you go. But because he had already adopted the two of us, when it came time for the third one to come around, he was just simply adopted out through Catholic Charities or whatever. But to the point, though, she was trying to stay married, and it was he who ran out on her. So circumstances, I mean, you can love somebody and the other person say, "Oh, I love you too," and then they turn around and do something like get an abortion, and so where was that love? Well, I love you, but not enough to have a child with you. What? Well, I love you, but not enough to have a child with you. That was the discussion for me, to me. So, I mean, you have to go on the inside and go, man, oh, whatever spiritual connection or whatever. Oh, man, shit. So, but for a long time, I would not discuss this. Now, I would never discuss who the women were or whatever the reasons are. None of that. It's none of us's business. It was simply their decisions, and that's what happened. But I can speak on how I felt about it and how I still feel about it and my position about Roe versus Wade. It should be up to the states. And if you live in a state where they don't do it, then you got to go someplace else. The state of Georgia is one of them states where it ain't real. They don't encourage it. It's not real. Now it might become illegal now, but it wasn't. But it was really hard to find a place, But you could go down to Tallahassee, no problem. Bingo. Walk right in, sit right down. Daddy, let your hair hang down. Da 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 da. Walk right in. But anyway, so with all this said and done, though, there are many people I think they need to go within themselves. They need to be that hermit. They need to go inside and let the answers come versus, well, I can't allow this to happen. Well, you were the other party in this, okay? Um, in one case, this one lady came on to me and we became lovers and friends, and I thought it was going to be more. But, when she said, no, well, I can't have a baby with you, not now. And I was like, what the F does that mean? Hurt my feelings. And, well, you must not really love me if you're not willing to do that. Well, she already had 3 boys. And to have one more, I mean, I could see her point. But after we split up, it was 4 months later, she got pregnant by another boyfriend who she married, who subsequently died at a very early age, which was just horrible in and of itself. But our relationship of about a year or so, got pregnant, can't have a baby with me, but 2 months later, she marries another. We had just dated. She married this person, was pregnant when they got married, and she had had another boy. And we still stayed friends, but I could never figure that one out. So wouldn't have a child with me, but 3 or 4 months later had a child with this person she didn't even know for like 2 or 3 months, versus me over about a year of dating. So anyway, circumstances, but later on, I understand why both things had to happen. Um, our splitting up and her not wanting the child, and or for whatever the reason, it's a hard one to take. But there was still a person who was murdered in the event. So it's hard to say. Well, somebody said, "Have you ever killed anybody?" Not directly. I had to respect the woman's point of view in this. And as a hermit, and having had time to reflect on some of these things, because especially here recently with all the Roe Wade stuff going on and the talk and abortion, this and that, it's the subject I have not discussed. I just wasn't my business, it was the other person's. But I have been spoken out a little more here, within the last year or so, and not much, but because I don't want to embarrass or involve the women in any way. Whatever the decision was then, they might regret it now, not my business. We're not together. The situation has changed. And for myself, I understand that if there had been a child at my older age, that blah, 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 and my life would have changed this way and that way. And okay, but at the same time, there was a life involved. So, do I understand things differently than some other people? Yeah. Do I understand the connection more? So, if you have not experienced something like that, then your opinion on the subject is simply an opinion. You or they have not experienced seeing the parts of a fetus in a napkin to be shown to you minutes after the abortion. Until you have that experience, then your opinion doesn't mean shit to me. Now, if you're a woman that's had it, and you, but I mean, these other people who talk about it and around it and the woman's rights and this, that, and the other thing. But when you got baby parts in your hand and they've never had this, then your discussion with me has no meaning. And I'm a man, right? It didn't happen to me physically, but it happened to me emotionally. It happened to me spiritually, and as it kind of sort of still is. But these people who are ripping on this stuff, who seem to know what they're talking about, hold a fetus in your hand after the procedure, and you tell me if you feel the same way about it when after it's over with. That's all. Have a nice day, right? So, but to the hermit inside of us, going back into that, those were things that I had to really look at. And the only way to get there is by being honest. Well, I don't want to think about this. Yeah, I'm going to think about something else. Yeah, I don't want to think about that. Yeah, well, I'm going to think about it. I need to change the subject. I don't want to think about this. Yeah, okay. So, but in the hermit mode, those are things that you have to, not to say that other people have the same thing, but those are things that for me I had to deal with. And I couldn't talk to anybody about it because I was ashamed, embarrassed, and even though it wasn't me, it was me, but it wasn't, but it was, and it wasn't. I'm an accomplice, but I'm not. I mean, I drove the one lady to the appointment and back. I mean, actually both, but to the point. So I mean, you know, I after the robbery, after the murder, I drove the getaway car. You know, wait a minute. So the discussion that's going around now, the things that I needed to discuss honestly with myself could only have been done in the hermit mode, in by using bear and going into the into the silence and looking for the answers, just asking and saying, okay, explain this to me. Where do I sit in this? And uh, there's a lot that wants to make me feel guilty, but it was their decision. So, I can't feel guilty because it was their decision. Uh, Grown people, that knew what they were doing, but that's how it ended up. Now, I know that there are folks out there, and I'm going to use this broadly within the soul tribe, and I mean thousands of people who think like us, who we may have not have met, but we're very similar to how we feel about spiritualism and stuff like that. Okay. So maybe not within our little small group, but I mean the soul tribe, bigger, broader sense, right? So within the soul tribe of peoples, of like-minded beings, how about that one to give it a group name? There are folks who have had things happen, experiences in life that they were connected to, but may not have been necessarily, uh, um, their fault in any way, but that have been affected by things, and that the only way that you can really face those things is by facing them inside, by going into that hermit mode, by having some solitude, if only within your own head. Because some of the things recently about all this abortion and stuff that have brought old feelings and thoughts to the foreground, which I really didn't want. Okay, I don't want to bring all these old feelings and stuff back up, and the feeling of helplessness and just stop. I do not want to revisit this. But they said, yeah, but you never really dealt with it. And I was like, well, what could I do? But I never dealt with my feelings about the situations. So I had to go into a hermit mode of sorts with this last bit of Roe versus Wade and all this discussion, which have brought up these old topics and things that have happened with me, to me, around me, right? On this particular subject twice. And so I had not dealt with how I felt about it. I remember crying. I remember freaking out. I remember looking down at them body parts going, what the fuck just happened here? And no, I don't want to do this again. I didn't really want to do it this time. You know what I'm saying? But here you go. So, here's the body I just killed. I wanted you to see it, you know. That old fart of a doctor was really smart. Here, I got something for you. Come here. So I had to face I had to face that there was still something that I hadn't discussed. There was something, even though it was not my decision, that I had just pushed over into a corner. And do I need to dredge it up or whatever? No, because it's 30 years ago or more, you know, long time ago. And no, it's no. We just need to just drop this subject. You know, no, just go on. No sense in bringing it back up. It's literally dead and gone. But I had just not dealt with it. You know, so here I am dealing with it. Deborah's asking me a question here. Let me see. So, from the man's position, you mourned the loss? Absolutely, I did. Lots of people you have to label. It was not the same, Deborah. Okay. Obviously, I did not know this little human being, uh, you know, but because my empathy towards people and things, and I guess that's sort of why I'm on my journey is the shamans, not just, you know, it's more specific than other people's. But did I feel the loss? Absolutely. Did I wonder and have I wondered what those children would have grown up to be? Would they have brought me grandchildren? You know, because by this time, you know, they would have been old enough to have grandchildren because it's been that far back. One of them was in the late 80s, so or like 90 or something, but back a ways. So these one of them was a girl. I'm not sure of the other, but that you know would have been old enough to have had. I might have grandchildren running around, and I would have had another you know, another a child. So yeah, there are wonderings, the what ifs, and you know, what if I had like stood up more and said, "Hang on, what are you doing here?" You know, I did with one, and it just we broke up right afterwards. So that was that. Actually, broke up with both of them right after that, the incident. So, but did I have a feeling of loss? Yeah. But was it of somebody I'd known over a long time or whatever? No. I I suffered the loss of anticipation of what this child would have been like, to put on my knee, to play music with, to go camping with, to go kayaking with, to go exploring with, you know, and not having the opportunity to do so. So, yeah, it did affect me a lot back then. I kept it buried for a long time, refused to talk about it, even with myself. And here I am having an open discussion about it, which is like there are parts of me that are very, very close to tears. Real, my emotions are stuck right about here in my neck. So, but I'm cool with it because ain't nothing I could do. I mean, it has been 30 years ish. Um, and obviously, a lot of water has gone under the bridge, so to speak, of life, both for me and for them. And as much as there are parts of me that go, it was just wrong. I think how my life turned out and had to turn out as a shaman in training, that it was not compatible with either one of them and what they needed in life. They needed more structure. They needed a house in town. They needed this. They needed that. And I was not that. I was not that, and still ain't. Thus I'm still single after all these years. But the love that I had for both of those women, especially at the time, it was genuine and true for me. I cannot say the same for them. So, from my side of the story, I absolutely adored them. I was worried about marrying simply because there were expectations that I knew I simply could not fulfill. And because of what little bit I knew about my shaman journey back then, which was very little, I just knew that there was something I was pursuing with Native Americans. I was going to all the powwows I could find within a 200-mile radius, sometimes further. And I mean, I went all the way to Tullahoma, Tennessee to quite a few powwows, Murfreesboro, Tennessee to several powwows there. So I've traveled great distances to go to a powwow, to participate or just to be there as an observer. But the idea, though, that these folk were not on that same page as me. Now, did that mean that we had to? Did that mean we had to get rid of a child in order for these things to take place in the order that it seemed that the universe needed them to take place? For me to become more of the shaman, because there are many times that I had to be by myself. Honestly, the times that I was on the river for 3.5, 4 days, that coming up on an anniversary here in August, that I still don't know how I made it. And other instances, had I been, uh, had I had a child, these I seriously doubt that those instances would have happened, because I would have been a parent, and other things things would have been different. So there are lessons I may not have had the opportunity to learn in that respect. But it also could have turned out differently, where the child and me would have had other adventures and things that would have been different, because I can only speak from hindsight in what's already happened to me. And I can only speculate that if I'd have had a child or two, as the case would have been, that what would have that affected that's happened since then and now. what effect or transitions or whatever would have happened, I still think I would have still been on the shaman journey. That part I think was clear to me. I still would have pursued the native side. I still would have pursued many of the things that I already did, like puppets and puppetry and storytelling and the types of things I did, because those were all positive things, not only in my life, but it was positive things for all other people. And it was a good service to others, if you will. So, but I can only speculate on what may, could have, would have. But was I affected? Yes. And I'm certain there are men who may not have been affected like me, but would have taken the responsibility of being a father. And because that opportunity is taken away, but it was right there, you know, it was really close. And the, oh, you're pregnant, oh, we're going to have a baby, and the excitement or not of that. But wow, I'm going to be a father again. Wow, this is, wow, holy crap, wow, and then you ain't. What? Yep. Take me to Florida. This is it. So, but we all have to make these decisions and types of things. I've wondered about the male perspective. Yeah, I've known. There was at least one person that had went to some school with, and that later on she had had an abortion, and that her being Catholic, and we had had oh, this has been 40 years ago, but having had the conversation, and it was like I didn't know what to do, and so I had an abortion, and then later on I've regretted it, and I realized I just should have had the child, but hindsight. But she went through a very the word tenuous comes to mind, but I'm not necessarily sure that that's the right word. It took her many years to slowly get over it, and she kept it secret and wouldn't talk about it, and so which would make her kind of upset and emotional, and then so what's wrong? Anything? Oh, nothing. Leave me alone. And that's hard for two people to try to get along when the other person's trying to hide something or is hiding. And so, but she went into the hermit side literally and went to live on a lake in Florida and lived by herself and with some dogs and plants and things, and come to grips with it. And then later on got married and had children, and I guess is still living and as happily as possible. But so anyway, um, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I was badgered throughout my first pregnancy. It would have been easy to lump all men into the same category and think they didn't. Yeah, that's true. Now, and there are men who won't discuss it, and I have been as open as I could within reason. I don't want to discuss who the women were. That's just, I will not break that, Um, but in that other men just, don't want to discuss it, whether it affected them or not. They just don't want to discuss it. Well, do you know anybody? Why would I know that? Well, because, I have had, you know, have been with two women that made that decision to abort the pregnancy. And I just want to know if there's any other males out there um, who have had a similar instance that Let me report these people. So I know this is how this subject got veered off onto the, Roe v. Wade kind of thing, and abortion in and of itself. Um, and the answer is simple. It's something that I had to deal with, that I had to go inside, that I had to be completely honest about. And I don't know if anybody else's issues or problems in life are as serious as an aborted child or something like that, male or female. But that you have to come to grips with it on the inside before you can ever have the discussion on the outside. And so one of the things is that I was ashamed. And so my folks helped me to go through it, and they said, listen, it's already over. You just got to man up about it. And one way or the other, you got to discuss it and put it in its rightful place after all these years. And maybe there is some men out there who have had a similar, situation. And they might have wanted the child. Like me, I was really in love with this woman. And I mean, I was really in love with this woman. And it just broke my heart that she would, would not have a child with me, you know. I mean, because we dated for around a year, and I was like, we were comfortable, we had good times, and then that. So you never know. And love is a deadly thing, let me tell you. Because my version of love and how I feel may not be the same as yours, or theirs, or hers, or so. But anyway, I love you all. Thank you for letting me vent this last little bit on this last bit of the subject. If you have stayed this long and have hung out with me, um, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes courage for you to be honest with yourself. Whether you ever share it in a public forum or with another person is not it. I have laid many things out here on this channel. I've discussed all kinds of stuff, and it's been more brutally honest than I care to really, admit. Um, but that you have to be honest with yourself to resolve issues, to make sure, do you understand what this means? Well, yeah, I think I do. No, 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 no. Do you understand what it means? Do you truly believe? Do you trust yourself? If somebody says, well, Hawkeye, what do you think about this? This is how I think. Yes, it's a woman's right, but I don't think it's right. But okay. Oh, you're welcome, Deborah. Because I mean, I was listening. I have said this many times, but I listened to the Rubin report, and Dave Rubin. I consider him to be a decently wise man for his age and so forth. And he's got a husband, married, gay man, and I respect him. And he was talking about the same thing. He goes, the Roe versus Wade. And he goes, me and my husband are trying to have a child. And yes, we're two gay men, and we're talking about getting a surrogate mother. And anyway, but so the idea that for them to, they want a child, can't have one. And there are people that having abortions that, for whatever reason, it's like that, Nat can't have this. So that's out. So when they're looking to have one. So is it the right of the woman to, it's her body and all that kind of stuff? Okay. So he mentioned the same thing. He goes, I'm I understand the right to a woman, but then I wonder, is it really the right decision though? You know, if it's a medical thing or something, but for somebody to just say, nah, I don't want this child. No, I don't want it. Period. That don't ask me why. I just don't want the child. Now, to respect that, for whatever that reason is, okie doke. But then to just say that, it's the right to end a human life because you just don't want it, you have to stop and go, well, I don't know. And over the years, I've thought about this quite a few times. And Kim and his partner have thought about this too recently. And so he's like, you know, I'm for it, but I'm not. I agree with the woman's right to choose, but I also believe in the right to life. Is that wrong to have both feelings? And that's kind of where I'm sitting with this. They did what they chose to do, and I respected their decisions. Whether it was right or not, my feelings were not considered at all. When I was trying to be considerate, I wasn't the jerk that said, I ain't taking this. It ain't my baby, nothing like that. No, it's yeah, it wasn't like that. Was I scared to death about the one? I was like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna work this out, but good Lord put me here. We'll figure it out. You know. So, but anyway, people have hidden things within them. My sister had issues with our adopted mother. I didn't find out until this time last year. She had kept it in herself all those years, but she had to go inside and find out those answers and so forth. So she had to take a sabbatical, if you will, and take that hermit journey and come to grips with it. Uh, in talking with my other brothers and sisters, there were things in their life, finding out, that Dennis was adopted and that he had all these other brothers and sisters, until just a few years ago, right? Having all my brothers and sisters who were our official cousins, they all knew that I was their brother and Lynn was their sister, but we didn't know that they were our brothers and sisters. How screwed up is that? But, life is like that sometimes. But to the point, though, that there were understandings as siblings, as people. I mean, I knew my brother Dennis in ways that, what? I mean, we have a lot in common and we'd never met. So there are synchronicities within the universe to me that are not obvious to other people, but have become obvious to me and my family and other people too as well. But if you're not paying attention, if you don't do some internal work and allow for some of these idiosyncrasies of life to actually manifest themselves and take place, and I actually met my brothers and sisters, and we had a good time, and I love them, and the pictures right over there, and they're with me all the time. I'm never lonely because all I have to do is just stop and think about it. Just for a second, just look at the picture and go, cheers, and know that I got family. Where for a long time I felt alone when there was no need to. But so for folks now in this being a hermit, if they go within themselves, they're going to avoid this because they may feel lonely. But here's the thing, if you are a true member of the League of Like Minded Beings, then you are never alone. We are always connected. So go take that little trip, go find out who you really are. Don't argue about it. And if it's something you just want to deny and not face or whatever, that's still your choice. But I guarantee you, if you will go ahead and face whatever you think, if you have anything you may think that is hard to deal with, go ahead and deal with it. Get it over with. Pull that, rip that bandage off of that sore, and be done with it. And worry about the after effects, the pain and whatever after you rip that bandage off, because it won't be over at that time, but most of it'll be over. And the most is getting started, admitting it, saying, "Hey, I need to just meditate on this and let the universe show me." And because I realized, because I wouldn't face it before, I realized that I was harboring guilt and shame for something that was not my fault, because I was the partner in this and we created this child. Okay, but it wasn't my fault that that's where it ended. And so I've been holding in guilt and shame for another's actions. So that I can stop, that I can see. And that's where I draw the line and say, okay, I'm not going to feel this way anymore. It was very deep and really, buried in there, but it was still affecting me. And I'd scratch my head and go, wonder what this is about. And then with all this Roe v. Wade here recently, it surfaced, really surfaced. And I went, oh, so there you are. Hmm. So thank you for letting me have this talk with y'all. But regardless of what's going on, sometimes there's nothing going on. There's no issues to deal with. Sometimes we need to go into that hermitage. We need to go into that hibernation with bear just to see what maybe we might be missing. In other words, life might just be so complicated or uh, chaotic at the moment, and we just need to go into that quiet space and let spirit and our angel selves show us things, alternatives, or something else that we have just missed, not on purpose or whatever. We've just missed because we've been busy, and there's so much weirdness in on the planet right now. So, and that's a good thing too. It may be an enlightening thought. It may be whatever, you know. So it doesn't have to be something tragic or something woeful or whatever that we need to work out within our that secret place. But if you do have something, that's the place. Work it out. But it may be that we just need to go visit there, just to go see the previews of what may be coming for us in the future. Previews, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, if you want to know the future, ask for the previews, the possibilities of coming attractions. So anyway, I love you all. It's 3:19. Wait, I think I got one more in here. It's almost 3:20. Okay. So my dear friends, Miss Deborah, and all y'all that have been here, I honestly do love you. Thank you for allowing me to have these talks with you. I hope it does folks good, to be able to have the courage to talk about certain things and give your opinion. And so folks who want to question me and badger me is like, okay, let me tell you my story. And you're probably going to back down because what? You're a man and you have feelings about this? Yes. Now shut your little old prudy ass up and quit badgering me, you know, because I'm a man. Yes, I am. I'm a man. I can't. Da, 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 da. Happy 20. Woo! I continue to pray each and every day. I honestly do. That each and every one of you, get sleepy, will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, many blessings in the universe. Have faith and believe, 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 believe. On number 2, when Duggar and I go out and take our walks, we continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And in that law 3, which is, it still tickles me, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relatives and all of your relations will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. And so, with that said, accepting it, there are some folks, though, that they seem to be accepting, but they haven't mulled over whether or not what they're accepting is the truth or not. So sometimes there are things that come to you, and you have to accept that there's this opinion, and it's up to you to work it out with your own energy, with your own spirit, with your own mind and your own intellect as to whether or not it's actually true. Because there are people who are believing in butterflies and unicorns, and that's all there is, and it's just that, when it's more complicated than that. Those folks can see the joy in the universe, and it's associated with rainbows and unicorns and butterflies, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But for those of us who see a much bigger picture in a different light, accept the unicorns and accept the rainbows, and we accept some of this other crap too, whether we like it or not. But we accept it, we respect it, we will honor especially the good, and we honor one another by saying thank you to the universe. Be grateful for what you already have, and quit whining about what you ain't got, because whining about it ain't gonna do no good. So um, keep it together, my dear friends. Honestly, you know, the things that I receive from the universe are, as an example, I'm wondering if this understanding, this is just an example of the tree of life that I understand and have learned, and what show me if this is good, bad, true, false, or help me to unwind the mystery within myself of the knowledge that I have acquired. And they have filtered this out, the information about the tree of life. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is like, yeah, okay. So, and now does it fit other people's version of their tree of life? Maybe not, because we've grown up, my spirit was in some other realm as some other something, right? And so now I'm here this time around. So I'm looking at the situation with now eyes, right? My current position, my current spirit, my current state as a hermit or not. Um, oh, and another 10 cents on the hermit. I may have mentioned this earlier, and I'll just slightly mention it now. Being a hermit by yourself will teach you not only about yourself and your own spirit and nature and things about you, but it will also teach you, whether you need it or not, how much you need or don't need other people. And that's a lesson that some people just You know, they don't need to be around other people. They need to be hermits. They need to stay away. They got grumpy attitudes and they're blah, blah, blah. But then there are people who are hermits. And I will kind of sort of put myself into this in that it's not that I don't want to participate with anyone or be out, you know, that I want to hide from people or that, no, because I have enough alone time out here. But to the true sense of the hermit, no, I don't mind going out and being around people or stuff like that. I just don't because of circumstances. So, but simply because my circumstances keep me from being around other people or more or involved more does not necessarily mean that that's how I want to be segregated or separated from other people, where other people just simply don't want to have anything to do with other folks. So, but anyway, so in this idea of being a hermit, you know, being by oneself and whatever that means mentally, physically, or so forth, spiritually, doesn't mean that you can't go out and have tea with the neighbor or go to town or go to the barn dance or something and then go back to the swamp or then go back to the, you know, and quote, being the hermit. But to be disassociative of other people and not want to be around anyone. Okay. So, but anyway, I continue to pray for y'all. Good night, Deborah, and everyone else, y'all. Thank you. I'm rapping on about something, but I just thought it was pertinent. So, but anyway, have a great Wednesday. It's almost July. Uh, Monday coming up is going to be the 4th of July. And the question was out there, have you seen any fireworks around lately? There used to be tents and places that are selling fireworks this time of year, and there just aren't any so far. So, anyway, I love you. Please be safe. Duggar says good morning. I'm going to go outside and check and see how much rain we got. It was lovely to hear it and smell it. So, um, amen, y'all. Be safe. Be kind to each other. I love you. Cheers. And please be grateful for what you have. And all you got to do is just say thank you. Till next time.